After the special ops team wrapped up their mission, I heard the chatter on the team comms, and they were teasing Candy. Candy, you and the captain need to take it easy. Don't break the bed again. Go tell Ethan Vance to be gentler. What's the point of telling me? Candy said, a hint of a smile in her voice. And by the way, don't say anything stupid in front of my husband tomorrow. When she pulled out her phone, the other agents exchanged suggestive smirks. Love for your husband, lust for the captain. You really know how to keep things balanced, Candy. A moment later, my phone rang. Listening to Candy tell me how much she missed me, my heart sank into a pit. She had no idea that I had secretly become the team's intelligence analyst, with her on every single mission. The first time she slept with Ethan, I didn't sleep at all. After hanging up with Candy, I dialed another number. I'll do it. I'll quit the team and live a quiet life. A crisp, pleasant voice answered. Good. After the decapitation strike is successful, I'll leave the country with you. It's in 3 days. Candy and Ethan were still on the team comms, flirting as if no one else existed. The rest of the team was hooting and hollering, calling out to them like they were the squad's power couple. I froze, my heart sinking like a stone. Ethan had joined the special ops team 3 months ago. During a mission, he was drugged. Candy volunteered and went into Ethan's room. 3 full days and nights later, Ethan finally opened the door, looking completely satisfied. Behind him, Candy was blushing furiously. Later, with Candy's enthusiastic support, Ethan became the captain of the special ops team. On every mission, they were inseparable, sharing a room every night. I already knew everything, but today, the pain was still unbearable. My hands shaking, I pulled up the surveillance feed from Candy's room. On the high-definition camera, Ethan had her pressed against the floor-to-ceiling window, a thin layer of condensation fogging the bright glass. The two of them were lost in each other, a tangle of limbs and passion. After 4 or 5 hours, they finally finished. She went into the bathroom, and when Ethan tried to follow, she shut the door in his face without a second thought. Stay away from me. I'm going home, and I don't want my husband smelling someone else on me. Ethan's voice was dejected. I go through hell and back with you, and I still can't compare to that useless husband of yours. Candy grabbed Ethan by the collar and left a suggestive kiss on his lips. But the words she spoke were utterly heartless. The only one I love is my husband. Stop clinging to me. It's not a good look. Don't forget, we agreed from the start. We're just sleeping together, nothing more. Ethan pulled her into a tight embrace. I regret that. I want all of you. Candy was unmoved, applying her makeup with a look of indifference. I promised Sonny I'd spend time with him after this mission is over. She left without a backward glance. When Candy got home, I was on the couch, reading a book. She was wearing the light, fresh perfume I had picked out for her myself. Now, it had become an accessory to her crime, helping her cover the evidence. But as she leaned in, I could still detect it, a faint, lingering trace of Ethan's scent. No matter how thoroughly she washed, the mark of another man was still on her. It would never wash off. She straddled my lap, her smooth hand sliding under the hem of my shirt in a clear invitation. Honey, what if I had a baby for you? As her warm breath ghosted across my cheek, I couldn't keep up the act any longer. I gently pushed her off and hurried into the bathroom. I scrubbed every inch of my skin she had touched until it was raw, then leaned against the wall, completely drained. A baby? Did she really think I didn't know? She was already carrying Ethan's child. What made her think I would ever be willing to raise another man's child? After a long while, I came out of the bathroom, my expression calm, and asked with feigned concern, "When's your next mission?" "In 3 days. It's a major operation." She paused, her voice tinged with apology. "Honey, I'm so sorry. I know it's our anniversary, but I can't be with you." I managed to smile. "It's fine. Just try to get home as early as you can. I'll have a gift waiting for you." The joy on Candy's face was obvious. "Okay, I promise I'll rush back the second I can to see my surprise." I turned away, and the smile vanished from my face. Will you be surprised when you see my dead body? The next morning, Candy woke me up, her hands roaming all over my body, trying to arouse me. "Honey, the team is having a get-together at the agency cafeteria today, and I want you to come with me. But first we could..." I pretended not to understand her suggestion and went straight into the bathroom. A flicker of surprise crossed Candy's face. That day, I passed through the agency's security checkpoint using my civilian credentials. As soon as I walked into the cafeteria, I could hear them all talking. So the intel analyst is a no-show again? The guy is such a mystery. Yeah, he's a total enigma. We've been working with him for 3 or 4 years, and I've never seen him once. All I know is that he's a young guy. If you ask me, the analyst definitely has a thing for Candy. He always sends intel to her first. I lower my head. They were right. The only reason I got involved in any of this was for Candy. She was determined to be an agent. I couldn't bring myself to stand in the way of her dream, so I decided to protect her from the shadows. I accepted the agency's invitation on one condition, that any relevant intel will be sent to Candy's squad immediately, which is how I also found out, in real time, that she was cheating on me. My expression must have soured. Candy thought I was getting angry and quickly snapped at her teammates. What are you all talking about? Seeing Candy, the agents shot up from their chairs, looking nervous. Candy, Sonny, you're here. We were just messing around. Sonny, please don't take it seriously. Yeah, everyone knows Candy only has eyes for you. She takes your picture with her on every single mission. Totally. She calls you every chance she gets. You're all she thinks about. All of them looked completely sincere. If I didn't know the truth about Candy and Ethan, I might have actually believed them. Ethan, who had been sitting in the corner, slowly rose to his feet with a look of arrogance. Sonny Miller, I've heard a lot about you. Our eyes met, and the hostility in his was unmistakable. If Candy hadn't been there, I doubt he would have even bothered with the pretense. At the table, Candy played the part of the perfect wife, peeling shrimp for me, putting food on my plate, and speaking to me in a soft, gentle voice. It prompted a fresh round of teasing from the other agents. Only Ethan's expression grew darker as he drank one glass after another. After a few rounds, even I was starting to feel a buzz. Ethan stumbled out of the room. A moment later, Candy got a message. She shot to her feet, her cheeks and ears turning bright red. Noticing my questioning look, she forced herself to compose herself. Honey, I got a little banged up on the last stop, and the doctor told me not to drink. I'm gonna pop over to the med bay. You stay here and have fun. She rushed out of the room. My phone vibrated. It was a message from Candy's number. Come to room 302. I have a surprise for you. The terse tone didn't sound like Candy at all. Was this Ethan trying to provoke me? I lowered my gaze and ignored it, instead pulling out my phone and tapping into the internal surveillance network. The scene on the monitor was intensely intimate. Ethan had changed into a thin shirt, which was soaked through, his muscles showing underneath. It was a look that was fatally attractive to Candy. Candy was lying on the bed, her face flushed and her eyes hazy with desire. Ethan smiled, satisfied, and lowered himself onto her. But today, Candy was uncharacteristically impatient, urging Ethan to hurry. She wasn't in the mood for foreplay with him today. She just wanted to get it over with so she could go back to playing the good wife. But when she saw the iMessage that Ethan had sent from her phone, her blood ran cold. The charged atmosphere in the room vanished in an instant. Candy shot up and glared at Ethan, her voice sharp. You better pray my husband didn't see that. If he did, I'll kill you. Candy turned and stormed out. She didn't look back, ignoring Ethan as he called her name. She ran down the stairs, nearly twisting her ankle in her haste. But she ignored the pain, a terrible thought racing through her mind. Did Sonny see the message? Did he go to room 302? She couldn't bear to imagine the consequences. It was only when she burst through the cafeteria doors and saw me sitting right where she'd left me that Candy finally let out a long sigh of relief. She threw herself into my arms, breathless. Honey, you didn't see that message, did you? I smiled and shook my head. My phone died. What message? Was it important? Candy completely relaxed, her voice turning sweet as honey. It was nothing. Having you here with me is the most important thing. The other agents started teasing her again. Wow, Candy, look at the tigress turning into a kitten. Sonny, you have no idea. Candy's usually the iron-fisted boss around here. I've never seen her this gentle. Seriously, Sonny, you should come around more often. Maybe she'll yell at us less. Into this cheerful scene, A late-arriving Ethan walked in, also smiling. It's true. With Sonny here, Candy is a completely different person. He raised his glass to me. Sonny, you better take good care of her. A lot of guys at the agency have their eye on Candy. I played along. Oh, really? Who likes my wife? Ethan raised an eyebrow. Someone on our team, for starters. Beside me, the color drained from Candy's face. She forced a smile. Don't be ridiculous. Honey, he's just kidding. After a sharp glare from Candy, Ethan added reluctantly, Yes, Sonny. I was just talking. Don't get the wrong idea. From his tone, it was obvious he wanted me to get exactly that idea. Afraid Ethan would say something else he shouldn't, Candy grabbed my arm and insisted I take her home. As we left, I caught Ethan's challenging stare. The mood in the car on the way home was tense. No matter what Candy said, my replies were brief. Later in bed, as Candy's slender body pressed against my back, I spoke softly. Honey, you smell like someone else. It's strange. I feel like I've smelled that scent somewhere before. Candy instantly rolled off the bed and backed away toward the bathroom. She stammered, Oh, that's probably just the disinfectant from the med bay. I'm going to take a shower. Don't wait up for me, honey. Listening to the sound of the shower, I closed my eyes and thought to myself, 2 more days, and I can finally leave. I didn't wake up until noon the next day. Candy came in, smelling of cooked food. Honey, get up. Lunch is ready. The table was covered in delicious food, and Candy watched me eat with a look of pure contentment. Honey, I'm staying home with you all day. I'm not going anywhere. I wish I could stay by your side forever, never leaving for a second. And for the rest of the afternoon, she stuck to me like glue, never leaving my side. She didn't even look at her phone, though it rang again and again. She made me watch cheesy romantic comedies with her and play video games together. It almost felt like old times. But I knew, with absolute certainty, that we could never go back. As evening fell, the doorbell rang. Candy went to the door. Who could that be at this hour? What are you doing here? That last part was directed at the person on our doorstep. There was a moment of silence. Then I heard Ethan's low voice. I'm in a tough spot. Aren't you going to invite me in? When Ethan saw me, he gave me an apologetic smile. Sonny, I'm so sorry to impose. There was an issue with my hotel, and I remember Candy saying you had a spare guest room, so I came here on a whim. I hope you don't mind. I glanced at Candy's tense expression, then nodded. I made an excuse about finding some pajamas for Ethan, leaving Candy to show him to the guest room. Once she probably thought I was back upstairs in the bedroom, Candy grabbed Ethan's arm. Are you insane? What the hell are you trying to do? Ethan pulled Candy into a tight hug, his voice thick with emotion. I missed you, and I missed our baby. Candy scoffed. Shut your mouth. The baby I'm carrying is my husband's, and only my husband's. Do you understand? Ethan simply lowered his head and kissed her, ignoring her protests. Maybe it was seeing the wedding photos of me and Candy around the house, but Ethan was relentless, refusing to let her go. After 10 minutes, Candy used the last of her willpower to push him away. No, we can't. My husband is upstairs. His lip was bleeding where she'd bitten it, and he let out a low chuckle. Wait until he's asleep, then come find me. The master bedroom is on the 2nd floor. You won't hear a thing from downstairs. When I heard the guest room fall silent, I knocked and entered. Captain Vance, these are some pajamas Candy bought for me a while back. I've never worn them. Hope you don't mind. Ethan took them, his face lighting up. If Candy bought them, they must be the best. Why would I mind? His eyes were glued to Candy, making no effort to hide his desire. Candy practically shoved me out of the guest room and back toward our bedroom, almost as if she were running away. That night, once she was sure I was asleep, Candy slipped out of our room. In the end, she went to him, right under my nose, in the home we shared. I suppose that made it more thrilling for her. The moment the door clicked shut, my eyes opened. The sound from the guest room continued from midnight until dawn. I sat there on the bed all night, the floor around me littered with empty cigarette packs. The thick smoke made me choke, and I coughed until tears streamed down my face. I didn't love her anymore, so why was I still crying over her? As the first ray of sunlight streamed into the room, I wiped my tears away. I threw the cigarettes and our years of history into the trash. By tomorrow, no, by the end of today, it would all be over. When it was time for her to leave, Candy gave me a long, reluctant goodbye. Honey, as soon as this mission is over, I promise I'll make it all up to you. Wait for me. She kissed me over and over, only pulling away when she was about to be late. As her car sped away, I turned and headed for the roof. I had just boarded the helicopter when a delicate fragrance wafted over from beside me. The helicopter banked sharply, and she fell into my arms. Her voice was melodic. It's not too late to back out. I helped her sit up straight and close my eyes. Captain Reed, you're unusually talkative today. As the agency's only female captain, she had a reputation for being an ice queen. But now, her bell-like laughter echoed in the cramped cabin. As we neared the destination, her voice dropped, laced with concern. This decapitation strike is critical. If we succeed, we can dismantle the entire southwestern criminal network. The director wanted you overseeing this from the front, and you still insisted on being the bait. Today, your safety is the priority, understand? I nodded, put on my gear, and jumped. But the moment I stepped into the prearranged field command post, I knew something was wrong. The third operator from the door, his movements were all wrong. I turned to run, but a needle was already plunging into my neck. Before I blacked out, I heard someone say, "We finally got you, the great intelligence analyst. Go, tell the boss we have him." When the moving coordinates finally stopped, the entire special ops team locked and loaded. Kenny sounded confused. The coordinates are this precise? I thought all our previous informants were dead. Captain Reed's voice came over the comms, crisp and clear. It's our analyst. He managed to infiltrate their ranks and send out the signal at great personal risk. Today's mission is to destroy the enemy stronghold and rescue our analyst. That's an order from the director and a personal request from me. Candy chuckled. Sounds like this analyst is pretty important to you, Captain. He is. I've cared about him for many years. As another woman, Candy, surely you can understand my concern. Candy smiled at that, her voice filled with longing. Captain, I'm luckier than you. I've been married to the man I love for 5 years. Ethan snorted dismissively. That analyst? He's always been a coward, hiding behind a desk. The bonus for this op must be huge for him to finally crawl out and try to steal the glory. The normally calm Captain Reed snapped. Shut up. What do you know? Without him, none of your missions would have succeeded. You wouldn't even be alive to stand here talking. Ethan sullenly shut his mouth. The team moved swiftly toward the target under the cover of darkness. The assault on the perimeter went smoothly. When Ethan and Candy's team stormed the warehouse, they saw the enemy leader barely breathing, sitting on a second-floor landing next to a man who was bound and gagged. The light was too dim for her to make out the man's face. But strangely, a wave of familiarity washed over her. Before she could process it, Ethan suddenly collapsed in front of her. It hurts. My leg, I've been shot. Through the hail of gunfire, I saw Candy cradling Ethan in her arms, her face etched with panic. Candy's voice was choked with tears. I can see Bone. It's bad. We can't wait. Ethan's voice was low. Just blow them all to hell. Candy, if we wait any longer, will I lose my leg? I'm afraid I won't be able to marry you. The other agents hesitated. We can't, Captain. Our orders are to capture the leader alive. And the analyst is in there. In the next moment, Ethan's pain groan drowned out everyone else. I'm a captain here. Am I not more important than some analyst? At that moment, all eyes in the squad turned to Candy, the team's veteran member. Candy took one last look toward the enemy leader. The analyst had always been good to her, helping her secure major victories several times. But Ethan looked like he was in so much pain. Gunfire still echoed outside the warehouse. In the end, her gratitude to the analyst couldn't compete with the intimacy she shared with Ethan. Besides, if the analyst survived, he would get all the credit. Candy made her decision. She grabbed one of her men by the collar and whispered, "The perimeter is secure. There's no reason to waste time here. Toss a grenade in there. We'll say the hostiles triggered it themselves. Now move it." Candy struggled to help Ethan to his feet and turned to leave. The moment the grenade was thrown, on some strange impulse, Candy glanced back. The flash from the explosion lit up the face of the bound man with perfect clarity. I looked right at Candy and gave her a smile of utter despair. Candy's eyes flew wide open. The shockwave from the blast was so powerful that I briefly lost consciousness. When I came to, My injuries had already been treated. Captain Bianca Reed, the one who got me out, finally let out a quiet sigh of relief. Her voice was icy, as if she was still angry with me. You have a mild concussion and some serious abrasions on your arm, but you'll recover quickly. You survived. You must have good fortune ahead of you. I clutched my side and managed a weak smile. After all these years, she was still so endearingly awkward. I closed my eyes, listening as Bianca reported the outcome of the mission to her superiors. Everything that happened today was part of setup. Or more accurately, the setup began the day Ethan joined the team. Ethan was an enemy plant. What no one in the agency's high command anticipated was how easily Candy would fall for such a simple honey trap. She claimed over and over that she loved me, yet she could crawl into another man's bed without a second thought to satisfy his lust. If that was the case, then I was done with our 5-year marriage. And so, Candy became a pawn in our larger play, completely unaware. We used her, through Ethan, to feed his organization a stream of misinformation, leading them step by step to their own destruction. Today, the moment I stepped into that compromised field command post, the decapitation strike officially began. All the perimeter assaults were just a diversion, designed to help me get inside their main base and transmit the precise coordinates. When Candy entered that warehouse, the leader she saw was already critically wounded. That was because I had already killed him myself. But only a few key members of high command, and I knew the truth. The agency's official report would state that Candy gave the order to kill the leader, protecting my identity and shielding me from retaliation. When we were planning this, Bianca's eyes were cold. It's an honor for her to be your scapegoat. If she weren't useful in this, I would have put a bullet in her myself. In the original plan, I was supposed to get out clean, tell Candy everything, and ask her to forgive me for the deception. 3 days ago, I changed the plan. Sonny Miller would die in that explosion, and I would leave it all behind and be completely, finally free. The aftershock of the explosion threw Candy to the ground. She scrambled to her feet and tried to rush into the inferno. It was too late. The grenade had already detonated. Sonny was dead. The memory of his final smile made Candy's heart feel like it was going to burst. She dug frantically through the rubble, her fingers raw and bleeding, her body shaking uncontrollably, but she wouldn't stop. How could this happen? How could Sonny be here? I must have been mistaken. It was just someone who looked like him. Candy mumbled to herself, desperately trying to believe her own words. Ethan came over to comfort her, trying to put his arms around her, but Candy shoved him to the ground. Get away from me. If it wasn't for you, I never would have. I never would have. How could I have given the order to throw that grenade? It was her. She was the one who gave the order that killed Sonny. No, it was all Ethan's fault. Candy staggered to her feet, her eyes bloodshot. Anyone who knew her would recognize the sign. She was ready to kill. Candy's hand was already on her gun. The dark barrel was aimed straight at Ethan. At the last possible second, a syringe plunged into her neck. The fast-acting sedative had no effect. A second dose. A third. Finally, she swayed and collapsed. Captain Bianca Reed waved a dismissive hand. Get her out of here. I'll handle the cleanup. When Candy woke up, 2 days had passed. Seeing her dazed expression, a nurse smiled. Ms. Miller, are you feeling all right? I heard you were a big hero. Congratulations. Candy managed a weak smile and thanks. A second later, the smile froze on her face. A hero? The memories from before she lost consciousness came flooding back. The grenade. The man who looked so much like Sonny. The explosion. Candy began to shake uncontrollably. No, it couldn't be. That wasn't Sonny. Sonny had to be at home, reading a book or working. She fumbled around frantically. My phone? I need to call my husband. Just then, a pair of black high-heeled boots stepped into the room. It was Captain Bianca Reed. The great hero is awake. Bianca's voice was like ice. What's this pathetic act? You're the one who gave the order to throw the grenade. Remember? Those few words hit Candy with the force of a physical blow, and she crumbled. She collapsed weakly to the floor. It was you. You were supposed to protect him. You said my husband was safe. Why was he there? Bianca slowly pulled off her gloves and threw them in Candy's face. Sonny Miller was the teammate you ordered killed. He was the intelligence analyst. 10 years ago, Sonny was one of the top hackers in the country. The director tried to recruit him for years, but he always refused. Then, a few years ago, he finally said yes. He did it for you. But 3 days ago, he volunteered to be the bait for the decapitation strike. Do you remember what happened that day? Candy froze for a second. Then all the color drained from her face. That was the day she had spent the entire night with Ethan. It was all over the team comms that day. Candy, you and the captain need to take it easy. Don't break the bed again. The captain was just wound too tight. I was just helping him blow off some steam. Don't say anything stupid in front of my husband. And the analyst, Sunny, had been listening to every word. Candy looked as if she'd been struck by lightning. Wait, it wasn't just that day. The intelligence analyst is a command-level position with the highest clearance in the squad. That meant he could access any and all surveillance footage. Candy gasped for breath, as if she were suffocating, her hands beginning to shake. I want to see the analyst's activity logs. The captain nodded to the guard behind her. Show her. With trembling hands, Candy scrolled through the logs. 2 days ago, room 302, feed accessed at 1327, viewed for 1.2 hours. 3 days ago, her hotel room, feed accessed at 1722, viewed for 3.5 hours. 1 week ago, abandoned training facility, feed accessed at 2247, viewed for 2 hours. Those were all times she had been with Ethan, which meant that Sunny had been on the other end of the camera, watching. No wonder he had been so distant. He knew. He had known all along. He had seen every single betrayal. Sunny had volunteered to be the bait because he had a death wish. What had she done? Candy collapsed to the floor, helpless, as tears streamed down her face. And the ice-cold captain delivered the final, devastating blow. Oh, and by the way, the night before the mission, when you and Ethan were in the guest room, Sunny wasn't asleep. That single sentence left Candy completely frozen. The last night they spent under the same roof, she was in another man's bed. How heartbroken Sunny must have been. No, it wasn't all her fault. It was Ethan's. If he hadn't shown up at their door, she never would have done something so stupid. And then, at that critical moment, it was because of that worthless Ethan that she gave the order to throw the grenade. Just then, Ethan walked into the room. Candy, my leg is going to have a scar. You won't think less of me, will you? Seeing Candy on the floor, Ethan looked alarmed. Candy, what are you doing? Get back in bed and rest. Candy slowly lifted her head, her eyes fixing on Ethan's leg. Ethan missed the murderous look in her eyes and instead turned to greet Bianca. His eyes widened in appreciation as he took in the stunning woman before him. The captain was always so mysterious and cold. This was the first time he'd ever seen her out of uniform. If he ever got the chance. Then again, Candy was pretty good too. Ethan bent down to help Candy up, but the icy look in her eyes stopped him cold. The room was deathly silent. The stalemate was broken by other agents, rushing in to offer their congratulations. Captain Candy, we completely wiped out the syndicate's main base. Yeah, we even got their leader. It's a huge win. Is Captain Reed here to give you two a commendation? It was only then that they noticed the tense atmosphere in the room. The room fell silent. Captain Reed spoke quietly. The intelligence analyst is dead. All the agents stood frozen, exchanging awkward glances. They were grateful to the mysterious analyst, of course, but it wasn't like he was one of them, someone who had been through the fire with them. Still, the news seemed to have hit both Captain Reed and Candy very hard. Ethan, recovering his composure, let out a cold snort. What's the big deal? Without us on the front lines, his intel would just be useless paper. So he's dead. Is he more important than Candy? He had meant it as a show of support for Candy. He was expecting her to give him a grateful smile. Instead, he watched as Candy slowly turned her head toward him, her lips parting to speak. So he's dead. The next second, Candy's hands were wrapped around Ethan's throat. If you hadn't gotten shot, I wouldn't have been in such a rush to get out. If you hadn't kept provoking him, Sunny never would have found out. He never would have given up on me. This is all your fault, you son of a bitch. The other agents scrambled to pull them apart. Through Ethan's whimpering, they learned the shocking truth. Sonny Miller was the intelligence analyst. It all clicked into place for the agents. No wonder their squad always got the best intel first. They never would have guessed. Watching the scene unfold, Bianca frowned with impatience. The room fell silent. She spoke, her voice cold. Our signals intelligence detected a transmission to the enemy, leaking the coordinates of our field command post. The signal originated from inside the agency. I checked the device information and discovered something interesting. No one noticed Ethan's body go rigid. He tried to slip away, but one of Bianca's guards grabbed his shoulder. Mr. Vance, perhaps you could explain this? Candy conducted Ethan's interrogation personally. As she inflicted one punishment after another on him, the only thing in her mind was Sonny's smile as he died. Sonny must have seen it. He saw her choose another man over him. All of Candy's love for Sonny had twisted into a bottomless rage, which she unleashed entirely on Ethan. He passed out repeatedly, only for her to wake him and begin the torture anew. Within a few hours, Ethan had confessed everything. I was working for them from the start, but Candy, what I feel for you is real. I really did fall in love with you. They promised me that after this mission, they would let me go so that you and I could be together. Candy, I did it all for you. Candy was unmoved. She just sneered. Who do you think you are? I have a husband. You don't get to be with me. If it wasn't for you, Sonny never would have volunteered to be the bait. This is all your fault, you bastard. By the way, this is the leg you were screaming about, right? The next second, Ethan let out a soul-shattering scream. His leg was completely destroyed. Ethan groaned in agony. No, Candy, I'm the father of your child. This bastard child? I'm getting rid of it today. You want a child? Dream on. Candy shot him a look of pure disgust and walked away. The agency was holding a commendation ceremony, but its biggest hero, Candy, was nowhere to be found. She was in their empty house, drinking herself into oblivion. She clutched a suit jacket that still smelled of Sonny, her heart aching with an unbearable pain. The day Sonny died had been their wedding anniversary, their 5th wedding anniversary. Sonny had said he had a surprise for her. Now she would never know what it was, and she was the one who had ordered his death. No one blamed her, but she knew that even if she tore Ethan limb from limb, it wouldn't change the fact. She was the one who killed Sonny. She stumbled through the house, searching for any trace of him. Honey, don't be scared. I'm coming to be with you. With a smile on her face, she gathered all of Sonny's belongings and brought them into the bedroom. His favorite records, his collection of books, everything that was his. Honey, I'm bringing all your favorite things with me. You'll forgive me then, won't you? When everything was arranged, she smiled, satisfied. She loaded a round, clicked off the safety, and put her finger on the trigger. Just then, her eyes shot open. Something was wrong. Something was wrong. Where's Sonny's ID and passport? I was sunbathing on a beach in the southern hemisphere, watching the beautiful women in bikinis stroll by. Life was good. A second later, a shadow fell over me. It was Bianca. She snatched the iced juice out of my hand and replaced it with a cup of hot water. You're still healing. Don't drink that garbage. I chuckled. The real reason was that another woman had brought me the juice. But I complied, downing the hot water she gave me. A pleasant warmth spread through me, and I settled into a more comfortable position. My days at the agency already felt like a lifetime ago. I had died the day Candy gave the order to throw that grenade. The man Bianca pulled from the wreckage was someone new, ready to start a new life. And to love someone new, someone more deserving. I watched as Bianca stood beside me, her stern expression causing a few interested young women nearby to immediately lose heart and walk away. I took off my sunglasses and looked at her, asking a question I already knew the answer to. What are you doing here? The decapitation strike was a success. Can't the commander in charge take a vacation? I thought a few of them got away. Shouldn't you be arranging a team to track them? Bianca shot me an annoyed look and lay down next to me. I have people for that. If I have to do everything myself, what's the point of having a team? She paused, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. My top priority right now is finding myself a husband. I pretended I hadn't heard her and feigned sleep. She laughed and gave me a light punch on the arm that made my heart flutter. Sonny, you can't avoid this forever. The world around us went quiet. There was only the soft breeze and the sound of the crashing waves. Just as I was drifting off, Bianca spoke again, her voice soft. I just got word. It seems Candy has figured out you faked your death. Captain Reed, I assume you can handle that. She snorted haughtily. Of course I can. Reassured, I let myself fall asleep. For the last 6 months, she was the only person I could truly sleep peacefully around. Sometime later, in a state between sleep and wakefulness, I felt someone slip into my arms. Her scent filled my senses, her warm, curved body pressing against mine, making my mouth go dry. When I heard the sound of her steady breathing, I opened my eyes and looked down at her. My left arm was wrapped around her slender waist, and with my right hand, I gently brushed a strand of hair from her peaceful face. I whispered softly, "When all of this is finally over, I'll give you an answer." When I woke up, night had fallen. Someone was handing me a glass of water. I sighed. "Bianca, you have to stop appearing out of nowhere like that." A soft voice answered, "It's me, honey." The lights flickered on, and standing by my bed was Candy. She was staring at me, her eyes filled with the shocked joy of finding something she thought she had lost forever. "Honey, I knew you weren't dead. Can we please go home? I know I was wrong." She reached for my hand, but I pulled it away. "Our marriage was over the moment you started sleeping with Ethan," Candy explained frantically. "Honey, I was set up. Ethan was an enemy agent. He was playing a part. So, is that supposed to be an excuse for cheating on me?" Candy's breath caught in her throat. Then, she struggled to speak. "Honey, I'm so sorry. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you, okay? Honey, I'm pregnant with your child. Would you really let our baby grow up without a father?" I laughed coldly. "Candy, do you really think you can fool me? You were on assignment for 3 months. Whose baby is it really?" Candy's eyes were red as she threw herself into my arms. "Honey, I was wrong. I'll get rid of it, I promise, and we can have our own baby. Honey, you're the only one I've ever loved. That bastard Ethan never meant anything to me." I tried to push her off, my face a cold mask, but she held on tight. Just then, a low voice spoke from the shadows. "Candy, you are a cruel woman." On the balcony stood Ethan, holding a gun, and behind him were the enemies who had escaped. "Long time no see, Sonny. That was a brilliant deception. If it weren't for Ethan and Candy here, we might have actually been fooled." Candy spun around, shielding me with her body. Seeing this, the enemy's second-in-command burst out laughing. "Candy, we have you to thank. If you hadn't led us here, we never would have found Sonny." Candy's body went rigid, and her face turned white as a sheet. I gave a hollow laugh. "So this is how you love me?" "No, honey, I didn't mean to. Ethan, you bastard. You leaked our private channel key." Ethan looked completely unhinged. "Yes, it was me. I would have given up everything for you, but all you could think about was that loser Sonny. What's so great about him? If you're going to be heartless, then don't blame me for being cruel." But when the second-in-command handed him a gun, Ethan hesitated. The man kicked him. "Hurry up. The agency could be here any minute. Didn't you say you want to get your revenge personally?" Ethan held the gun, his eyes a mixture of torment and conflict. "Shoot him. I heard that Bianca Reed is here too. If she finds us, we're done for." With trembling hands, Ethan aimed the gun at Candy. A shot rang out, but it wasn't Candy who fell, and it wasn't me. It was Ethan. A calm voice echoed from the doorway. "Deputy, long time no see. Unlucky for you. I've already found you." Bianca had shot the gun right out of Ethan's hand. He lay on the ground, moaning in pain, but no one was paying attention to him. Bianca, the deputy, and I were locked in a standoff. The tables had turned. The deputy stared down the barrel of her gun and said, "How did you know?" "Sonny and I have been waiting for you since the day you defected," Bianca said, glancing at Candy. "I just didn't expect it would take Candy over 6 months to finally track him down. Her skills are not exactly impressive." Candy looked at me in disbelief. "Sonny, does that mean this whole time you've been with her? Watching me suffer?" I met her gaze, my expression cold. Bianca answered for me. "Of course. Otherwise, you would have been discharged for insubordination months ago. You. How could you watch me fall apart with another woman? All the pain I went through for you, you knew all of it, and you just watched? How could you be so cold?" I scoffed. "Cold? Candy, your lover is lying bleeding on the floor. You have no right to question me." Searchlights flooded the room from outside, and the thumping of helicopter blades filled the air, ready to provide fire support. Seeing that he was surrounded, the deputy made a desperate move. He drew a pistol from his waistband and aimed it at me with lightning speed. Bianca's eyes widened, and she moved to shield me. But it was too late. The bullet was already on its way. At the last second, it was Candy. She took the bullet for me. It hit her right between the eyes. Her eyes were wide, as if there were 1,000 things she still wanted to say. But she would never get the chance. Enraged, Bianca riddled the deputy's body with bullets. She rushed to my side, frantically checking me for injuries. I shook my head, then looked down at Candy, my emotions a tangled mess. She wasn't breathing. I never would have expected her to save me in the end. Ethan, still on the floor, had passed out from the pain. When he woke up, he would face the harshest possible punishment. Medics rushed into the room and loaded me onto a stretcher. Bianca nervously instructed the paramedics to give me a full workup and treat any injuries. No one in the entire agency had ever seen the famously composed Captain Reed in such a state. I almost had a laugh. Bianca took my hand, and her own was ice cold. She had been terrified. I squeezed her hand, tried to warm it with my own. Bianca looked at me, her eyes wide with surprise. Then, in front of the entire room, she leaned over and kissed me. A month later, the agency announced the successful completion of the decapitation strike and officially revealed my identity to the entire organization. During the commendation ceremony, Bianca walked onto the stage to present me with my award. With everyone watching, I took her hand and, with a serious expression, got down on one knee. I pulled out a massive diamond ring and looked up at her. In the audience were my parents, my friends, and my colleagues. With tears in her eyes, Bianca held out her hand. The cheers from the audience were deafening, nearly shaking the roof of the auditorium. I stood up, pulled her into my arms, and gave her a long, passionate kiss. For the rest of our long lives, we would walk side by side.